especially with the invention of social media. Yeah. That's just changed the landscape. Absolutely. So, you have a problem with a kid at school now. It's not like you get to go home and forget about it. You have a problem with a kid at school and you go home and that kid is posting to all the other kids on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat and all those things about how they don't like you and what you did, and it follows you, yes. So in working with schools, I've learned that, wow, kids are going through so much. Yeah. And they need encouragement now more than ever. And listen, I'm a guy with a guitar that comes in for an hour that puts on a concert, but they need a whole lot more encouragement than that. That's why teachers and counselors and the administration, the staff of the school, it's so important to recognize how amazing those people are. Because a lot of these kids, when they leave school, they don't go home too much sometimes. Right. They don't go home to a lot of times students that are parents that are training them up in the ways of respect and kindness, Sometimes they don't even go home to parents at all. I've met so many kids that are homeless yes. in our schools. Yes. And so, walking into schools, it's a training ground. It's a training ground for life. And teachers have a lot on their plates. Counselors have a lot on their plates. And the expression, it takes a village, it really does. And Indeed. Now more than ever, it takes a village Indeed. To raise these kids. Yes. And, for me, I just realized that, hey, we all bleed red, right? We all need real basic things. We need love. We need attention. We need to feel like people care, And that's what I notice of what kids really want. They just want to know that people care about them. Yeah. And people love them yes. on their journey through life. Yes. So that's what I try to do with my message,
Yeah, very important message. And you're right, different landscape. And it's amazing. The longer I'm in ministry, it's still all, when you strip it all away, it's all about relationship.
Absolutely.
It's about relationship, love, caring, respect, all of those things. And you have a very unique perspective then. I mean, coming in from the outside to that and understanding and seeing life through their eyes.
Yep.
And I appreciate that. You have a family of your own.
I do.
You have a set of twins and a 7-month-old. Is that correct? Fantastic. That has to shape your faith, your music, your being in some way. How has that journey taken you, and where has that taken you?
Well, it's interesting. Like when we had our twins, I started listening to kids' music. Because you do that when you have kids. Yes. And I was like, man, this stuff is horrible. I could write these songs. And so I started writing my own kids' songs, and I came out with a CD. Really just inspired, like my son loves superheroes. And so the name of the CD is called I Want to Be a Superhero. And it's become like my most successful work of music. I mean, the kids' CD has been a lot of fun, which I'll be playing some songs off that for the concert in August too.
Great.
But really just having kids, it gives me an appreciation for where kids are at, especially when I work in elementary schools. What are the kids thinking about? What are they dealing with? And what really sparks them to become better? And for me, I was like, well, kids love superheroes, and if you become a superhero, that means you become better. And so I wrote that song about just being an upstanding citizen, and now, especially having kids, and when I walk into schools and I meet students and they share their struggles with me and they share their heart with me, I don't just look at them as random kids. I look at them as like, wow, man, these are someone's kids. Yes. I mean, I met a girl and she wanted to talk to me after a show, and we sat in an empty auditorium, and she sat there just telling me how her dad, who was her hero, passed away when she was younger, and how it's been a struggle. And man, I was bawling talking to that girl, and I felt like, man, I shouldn't be crying right now, but I was looking at that girl like, man, I was thinking about my daughter as I talked to this girl, and it just made everything, it just makes everything way more real.
Yes, it does.
They're not just random kids out there, they're somebody's kids, and so having my own kids, I'm excited about the next kids record, because my kids and I were trying to work on some new songs. We got to write a song about pizza.
Oh,
so
of course.
That's our next endeavor.
Look forward to that.
That's right.
That'd be great. Just a side question to that. What have you seen struggles, perils, woes between the primary and secondary level education, from the elementary to the high school? Are there? I'm sure, of course, there's differences.
Sure.
But what would some of those vast differences be with their struggles and such things? So what have you seen or learned?
I look at the span of grade levels as clay, right? Elementary, the primary grades, it's that nice moldable clay where you can work with it and you can shape them, encourage them, and they soak it up like a sponge. And so that clay is, you can really form it. Middle school, you start to see that, boy, that clay is getting a little bit harder to work with. And it takes quite a bit more hand muscles to get it, but still moldable, right?
Yes.
High school, things really start to turn rock hard. And sometimes in high school, how do you reshape clay? You got to break it down and you got to water it again. And so sometimes in high school, kids, maybe because of their own choices, are facing situations where they're feeling like they're being broken down a little bit. But it's only to help them become something better down the road. But man, it's like that clay really changes throughout the years. And it's funny because, elementary schools, I do a lot with character education, just teaching about respect and kindness and being a good kid.
Yeah.
As you get up into the older grades, you really have to talk about the bullying and how how their words and their actions are affecting kids throughout their whole lives. And in high schools, I really kind of shift into the whole game of, what's your focus as you're going through life? Like, here you are, you're in high school. You've got struggles and you've got stressful situations, but what are you focused on? Because a lot of times kids will focus on all the things going wrong, and it takes them down that path. And they forget about the things that are going right. They forget about the good things, and they forget about sometimes the things that keep them who they are. And so there's that whole kind of walk of life, and you really see how they change. You see it in the way they carry themselves.
Yes, I'm sure.
Elementary school kids come in, they're clapping, their hands are waving. High school kids come in and they're like this.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. It's funny you say that. I have a grandson that's 6 years old, and we've had a local children's musician come to the church. We have an Olaf Winterfest, and comes and plays. And when he was in preschool, he's jumping up and down and clapping and stuff. This year he's in kindergarten. He was up against the wall like this.
Right. Change is quick.
I'm too big for this. I said, dude, you're in kindergarten.
That's right.
So it's all good. We only have a few minutes left, but what's on the horizon? What's the future hold for your songwriting and your ministry?
Well, so I'm working on another kids record, but this one's geared more towards third through sixth grade phase of life.
Okay.
The superhero CD was really for the younger up to second grade. So this one is going to be for that kind of those intermediate grades. Really cool. So I'm working on that throughout the summer. And I'm also, like I said, working on a worship record. At the end of August, I'll be doing some stuff right before I visit you guys. I'll be in the studio with my good friends up in the Buffalo area, just cranking out some songs of faith and what God's doing. And so don't know the release of that yet, but definitely busy. And then my September, October, my fall is already slammed. So I'll be hitting the road, playing schools kind of all over the Northeast.
And how far, what's your geographical range usually as to when you're heading out to schools?
Yeah, I try to stay close to home. So I do a lot in New York, a lot in Vermont, a lot in New Jersey. I feel like I go to Long Island like once every other week or so. But yeah, I try to stay close to home. So
now, if people can get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Just go to jaredcampbell.com. And any email you send from that website goes right to me. So if you want to bring me to a school, you can go there. If you just want to say hey, you can go there. But jaredcampbell.com is kind of my go-to catch-all page, and you can kind of read up a little bit more on what I do in schools and about what I'm up to.
Okay. If I gave you 30 seconds to just kind of one last nugget of truth, there's people that are watching and listening to this program that may have just stumbled across this or are faithful listeners. But with your ministry in about 30 seconds, is there any nugget of wisdom or truth that you want to share with our viewers and listeners about your ministry or just about life in general?
Absolutely. I think the one thing I would say is, God has not forgotten you. I don't know where the camera is to look, but sometimes people feel forgotten a lot. Life hits people real hard sometimes, and sometimes you feel like, man, does God still care about me? Does he still know what I'm going through? Man, he's not forgotten you. And his hands are there. Just like that last song I sang, his hands are right there. just like that good shepherd, to lead and guide you. So keeping your faith in him every single day is where it's at, and he'll never let you down. Doesn't mean there won't be struggles, there won't be challenges at times, but he's faithful to the end.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jared, thank you. This has been an honor and a privilege, and look forward to Jared being at the Endwell United Methodist Church on August 31st at 5 p.m. Brothers and sisters, have a great day and a wonderful week, and God bless you.